Happy New Year, nerds! It's your boy, the OGGM, back at you after a couple of days off to enjoy the amazing rain and just recharge the brain. It's 8:30 here at Site B. We're still here. Site B is still sunny and warm. It's the second day of January 2023. The world is still standing. It's about 62 degrees here and sunny. But the, what are they calling these things now? They're aerial floods. Might be hitting us again tonight or tomorrow. I don't know what the difference between an aerial flood and a normal storm front is. But I guess they had to come up with a new word because, I don't know, reasons. It's like, the CDC naming variants of COVID after Decepticons. Well, we ran out of good names, so we're just going to use whatever name's laying around. It's an aerial flood. Anyways, enough about weather. But remember, if you can't talk about anything in broadcasting, you could always talk about the weather. Well, it's Monday, I think. So let's take a look at the tabletop role-playing game news that might have happened since the last time we spoke. First, what's going on with Wizards of the Coast? Sweet mother of frog, we have made it almost 72 hours without any news from Wizards of the Coast. I'm assuming they gave a weekend off or whatever, or just Hasbro was like, dude, just for a couple days, nothing. I don't know, but we haven't heard anything from Wizards of the Coast. So, yeah. What's going on with the rest of the tabletop role-playing game news since the last we talked? Well, there's two main stories. One is the Troll Lord Games debacle, which everybody is talking about. And the other is the latest level of nonsense from the dwindling, inclusive shallow end of the 5e swimming pool. So let's address that one first, because the Troll Lord Games thing, I'm still trying to wrap my head around. And I assume Jim's going to do something about it if he hasn't done it already, and he's smarter than me, so I always just bow to Grim Jim when something like this comes up. Okay, so in the past couple hours, I guess they're running out of things to complain about with gaming, and how we're not inclusive. And it's ironic that when these people come forward out of the water and wave their inclusivity, torches and pitchforks and get all up riled, and they're like, oh, come to 5e. But then they turn around and start attacking 5e. Now, the latest one regards 20-sided dice. I cannot tell if these people are being actually serious, if they are trolling themselves, or if just finally they've gone, completely wacko and they've run out of topics to be upset about in gaming, so now they're just making things up. Now remember, these are the people that Wizards of the Coast keeps trying to appease. These are the people that all the companies that jumped on the SJW woke leftists, as a liberal, I take offense at that, but whatever, bandwagon. So now they're going after 20-sided dice, and I can't make this stuff up. I wish I could, but I'm not that funny. 20-sided dice are not inclusive. If you use 20-sided dice, you're gatekeeping, because your average person doesn't have access to a 20-sided dice in their house and apparently can't afford them. Only us rich white folk can afford 20-sided dice. So if you're using a 20-sided dice at your game table, you're gatekeeping and you're racist. Because not everybody has 20-sided dice hanging around their house, but everybody has 6-sided dice hanging around their house. So many levels. So once again, I do not know if this is serious, or if these people have just if it's a group who are trolling the trolls, if these people are actually serious and really think that if you use a 20-sided dice, you're gatekeeping and you're not inclusive, you're keeping people away from your table, you're racist, or they've just lost their minds and they've run out of things to talk about. So they're attacking the dice. Now, first, what game uses 20-sided dice? What game started using 20-sided dice? Dungeons and Dragons. So the game everybody is saying needs to be more inclusive, and we want comfy D&D, we want safe D&D, we want inclusive D&D. You know what D&D uses 90% of all dice rolls is 20-sided dice. So are you saying you want Dungeons and Dragons to stop using 20-sided dice and 12-sided dice and 8-sided dice and 4-sided dice and just only use 6-siders because everybody has access to a 6-sider? And that is true. If you have at least one board game in your house, you probably have a 6-sider. If you've ever played any dice or drinking game, you probably have a 6-sider. In fact, you could walk to pretty much any liquor store or any 7-Eleven, and chances are they have 6-sided dice. I'm never sure why they have the 6-sided dice, and it's right next to the smoking materials. I assume it has something to do with playing dice games or whatever. But yeah, you can walk into a liquor store, and chances are there might be 6-sided dice. So we're gatekeeping because we use 20-sided dice, and your average person doesn't have access to a 20-sided dice, but they do have access to a 6-sided dice. Now let's just look at the math, shall we? Okay, one 20-sided dice on eBay / Amazon / Walmart / Target / Etsy / Wish is going to cost you about 55 cents, maybe less. Now, this is assuming that you don't game with anybody else who has extra dice and will just give them to you. Okay? Hey, you need a 20-sider? Here. It cost me 35 cents. It cost me 55 cents. You can get a 20-sided dice for under $1. A board game's going to cost you $30, $40. The 6-sided dice you get at the liquor store is usually about $3, $4. Anything that you're going to find 6-sided dice in, whether it be 1, 2, 3, or 30, is going to cost you at least anywhere from $3 to $30. So you don't have enough money to buy a 20-sided dice, so therefore I am excluding you because I can afford a 20-sided dice, but you have enough money to go buy 6-siders or to buy a board game, which has 6-sided dice. Oh, well, everybody has 6-sided dice hanging around their house. No, they don't. A lot of people do. I mean, if you have board games, probably, But no, I've been plenty of people who don't have 6-sided dice just hanging around their house. You can walk into any game store on the world. They will usually have a bowl of loose dice, and you can grab a 20-sider for 25, 35, 45, 55, 65 cents. If you go online, let's just take a random look. D20. Shopping. Let's see. Here's one for 24 cents. Here's one for 35 cents. Here's a solid gold one for $22. Yeah. So on average, a single 20-sided dice is going to cost you blah, blah, math stuff, science, division, magic, anywhere from, looks like 33 cents to $1. Now, add to that there are literally thousands of these things free online through this thing. You can use this to roll a D20. We could roll a D20 on this using old school 8-bit pixel computers in high school. So, yeah, you have access to a 20-sided dice. And if you can afford a 6-sider, you can afford a 20-sided dice. So, there you go, D&D players. Your own crowd is saying you're not inclusive enough because you use 20-siders. Every game should be using 6-siders. Now, as a fan of the D6 dice pool systems, I'm like, yeah, let's convert everything to D6 because I love D6. And it's a lot easier to find a D6. But, if the whole basis of your argument is you can't afford a 20-sider, and some people can, and then the people who can afford 20-siders are gatekeeping against the people who can't, well, that's kind of ridiculous. All right, moving on to the only other story that's happened in the last 72 hours. First, thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for keeping your mouth shut for the past 72 hours. Troll Lord Games thing. So, to make this as generic as possible, a guy who is sort of associated with Troll Lord Games went on a bit of a rampage on Twitter about stuff and insulting people and generally just being apparently a jerk. Well, it's Twitter. So, yeah, if you're on there, you're, Now, because this guy is somehow associated with Troll Lord Games, he's been called an artist, he's been called a staff writer, nobody's actually, he does work for Troll Lord Games, he doesn't work for Troll Lord Games, he's a staff writer, he's not a staff writer, he's a contributor, he said some stuff, people got upset. I think it's safe to assume by now that if you say anything on the interweb, somebody's going to be upset and call you various assorted names. Troll Lord Games came forward and said, hey, this does not represent us, the company. This represents the individual opinion of one member of our staff. We choose to focus on gaming and leave the politics to the rest of the world. We're gaming first, whatever. There's no politics in our game. There's no politics in Troll Lord Games. Whatever goes behind the scenes of Troll Lord Games in regards to what we do or do not think, that's not the general public's business, Who cares what I think? I want to just create gaming material. So this is similar to what Hasbro did last year when everybody got all upset because they didn't comment on the LGBTQT/abortion things. Hasbro said nothing. Wizards of the Coast employees that you remember got all upset because of the abortion thing and pro-life, pro-choice thing. And Hasbro said nothing. And the world was like, how dare you? And Hasbro was like... So this is kind of the same thing. Something happened. It associates with the company. Some people from the company are very upset. Some Twitter people are very upset. Other people like me are like, Stuff happens. The guy made a mistake. Whatever. He's even come forward and apologized. And Troll Lord Games is like, yeah, nope. So they did the same thing Hasbro did, except they said something about it. Now, should they have just done what Hasbro did and just said nothing? And just kind of be like, look, you know what our politics were yesterday? This guy came forward and said stuff. Chances are our politics are still the same thing. So he does not represent us. He's an individual who has access to Twitter and said stuff. So people are angry at this guy for being open mouth and saying stuff and insulting people. I will link several videos down below that have already addressed this topic. People are upset at Troll Lord Games for choosing not to take a position, and people are upset at Troll Lord Games for choosing to take a position, and their position was, we leave politics out of the game, we just focus on gaming. What is the opposition? Why are people upset at this guy? Because what he said? Well, what he said upsetted individuals. Why are people upset at Troll Lord Games? Because Troll Lord Games said there's no politics in our game. We just focus our energy on creating gaming. Whatever goes behind the scenes of Troll Lord Games, whatever this, Bridget over in copy editing feels, whatever Steve over in letter typing feels, whatever Dave over in that, we don't even know what Dave does, but he works here. In that department, whatever he thinks about whatever is not represented by Troll Lord Games. Whatever goes behind the scenes, none of your guys' concern. All you need to know is when we create our product, we're only focused about creating the best product that we can, which is what it should be for every game company. And people are upset. How dare you not say anything? Of course there's politics in games, because gaming reflects the real world, and you can't create a game without there being politics in it. Please find something political in there. Yep. Let's do it again. Okay. Just random page. Eyes closed. What politics does this page represent? Pro or against? Show me the... There, oh, no, it's just spells. All right, let's go to another one. There you go. Random page. Castles and Crusades. Trollord Games' #1 product, of which the guy in question has apparently nothing associated with. Politics, please. Show me. Show me anything Democratic, Republican, whatever in there. Nope, nope. It's just rules. Nothing political. This game is not political. This game has no political statement whatsoever. Why? Because it's an inanimate object with some words in it. And as an inanimate object, it has no opinion. Now, you can go through here and go, oh my God, I am so offended by the price of a sledgehammer. 6 gold pieces? That's racist. But that's not Trollord's Game who says this is racist. That's you projecting what's going on in here onto this page. So people are accusing these guys of saying, how dare you say your game is not political when there's politics at my table, so therefore the game is political. And again, Trollord Games is saying, well, no, we're not political. Our game is not political. Our game is just an inanimate object with rules in it. If you find something political in it, that's not on us. That's you, dude. Well, how dare you not be upset at this guy? Because he said stuff, even though he came out and apologized. Trollord Games is like, how do you know we didn't say anything? We're just not telling you what's going on because we are not political when it comes to this. This is not a political manifesto. This is not a guide to life. This is not a human improvement engine. This is not therapy. This is not a cookbook. It's a cookbook. It's a cookbook. This is just an inanimate object that has rules in it. Is not political. Now, I could go more into this nonsense, but the story's not over. So anything I just said will probably be completely and totally pointless in like 20 minutes. Once the rest of the world wakes up and decides that they're upset at some topic for some reason. Because we can't just focus on the game. We have to find something about the game that upsets us, because otherwise we're not relevant. So, should I be upset because this guy went on a rampage about stuff that may or may not affect me directly? No, because at the end of the day, I don't care. Should I be upset at Trollord Games for making a statement that they're not going to make a statement? No, because that's what all the companies should do. And, oh, look at Steve. I don't care. Yeah. Anything else going on in the world of tabletop role-playing game news, weather, or general internet nonsense? No, but it's still early, and it's only the second day of the new year, so we still got a way to go. Yeah. Moving on to the third story. The nominees for Top Tabletop Role-Playing Game Podcast are up for the year. So if you're interested in looking at the most anticipated tabletop role-playing game podcasts, link down below. Do you listen to tabletop role-playing game podcasts? I don't. Maybe I should. But I watch videos about it. Anyways, I have posted several links down below for individuals talking about this topic who are way smarter than I am, including Double D over at Dungeons and whatever, and Tanker, and all these, and Pundit, and all these other guys. And they are far more intelligent than I am, and can comment on this far better than I can, and who have a better grasp of the English language than I obviously do, because, you know, as we know, I get older, my brain is turning more and more to mush, and we're lucky that I can form a sentence at all. I'm an idiot, remember? Well, that is it, thankfully, but it's still early, and I'm sure before the week is over, Wizards of the Coast will say something stupid. Till next time, I'm the OG GM. Happy New Year! Thank you for sticking with me for a whole year. Thank you for helping me reach 1,100 plus subs. I'm still flabbergasted that I've gotten this much, but we can't rest on our laurels, boys and girls. We gotta keep pushing that merch. We gotta keep pushing the channel. We gotta keep pushing the subs. We gotta keep people listening to the words that are coming out of my ridiculous mouth, and hopefully thinking about it. Or not. You know what? At the end of the day, I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. Make up your own mind. We'll be back with my 2023 goals for the channel at some point in time today, but first I have to go to the market and buy food. Till next time, excuse me, I'm the OGGM. Like, share, subscribe, buy my merch. Have a great day. Controversy equals cash. See ya. And oh yeah, for the first time, brand new year, let me remind you to get off my land.